In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. If you never read the Gospel of John, that's the opening line he decided to use in order to describe who Jesus was and is, in a sense. Now, if you don't understand what that means, that's all right. Neither did I for the longest time. But I watched a couple of videos of myself, or a couple of videos regarding this topic, and from me personally going through the Gospel of John to try to understand what he's trying to convey throughout his writings. And one thing to realize is that with modern English, in a sense, it's not the best at being descriptive with our words, with words that encompass our general vocabulary and grammar. Because to understand the Bible more, we have to really think about the culture and the time period that a lot of this important teachings and general facts were written at the time. Because all of the disciples were Jewish in one way or another, coming from around the same area where Jesus was beginning his teachings. And so a lot of its underlay has a lot of Hebrew influence, but when John wrote his gospel, it was primarily in Greek. And in Greek, if you remember from your high school speech class, there's three main things we learned in that class, which was logos, pathos, and ethos. Yeah, ethos. So, focusing on the logos part of this, in the speech class, we were taught, to make our speeches or arguments have a rational component to it, be logical in a sense. But that's not what logos in itself means, in a sense. Logos is more so an encompassing term to describe the general order of the universe, the rationality behind the mechanism that me and you are experiencing here and now. It is logic in its purest sense. And so what John is trying to convey is that logic and rationality, the order of the universe, was there at the beginning, as not with God, but also God in itself. And he akins it to, and that's what he uses to describe Jesus, because Jesus was the Word becoming flesh. God literally in the flesh. And so what I'm trying to get at is that to understand the truth, you must come to see Jesus, in a sense, not in some hippie esoteric way of coming to Jesus, but in a literal sense of coming to Jesus, more aptly put. Because if John is describing Jesus as the living truth, the living rationality, the logic becoming flesh, then it's safe to say that all of that was real, that the Bible isn't just some book about morality or stuff like that. It's an actual historical account of everything leading to Jesus and everything leading from Jesus. If that makes sense. This is just what I've been feeling lately. Trying to read more of the Bible, trying to not just understand it, but feel what the authors are trying to convey. Because we have to think about it. Jesus, because you can't think of it as, Jesus, you can't think that Jesus wasn't real or he wasn't divine, because that doesn't make logical sense when you really think about it. Because his followers, his 12 disciples, only knew him were with him for around 3-ish years, give or take. And yet, in that short a period of time, they were fully convinced that he was God in the flesh, and that they will willingly give up their lives before they would deny him. That just blows my mind in a sense. And not only that, is that they experienced what he did. They saw him perform miracles. That's just hard to comprehend for our modern minds, that God would literally give us his only son, sacrifice him for our sins, and we would have salvation because of that. And that's the truth, because before you know the Father, you must know the Son, and when you know the Son, then you will know the Father. But to only know the Son, you must accept the truth, and the truth is the Logos. And that's generally what John is trying to get at in his entire gospel, is that Jesus is the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. You can be blind to it or you can accept it. It all depends on you. I feel like I'm accepting it more and more throughout the days, but what matters is, am I living that truth to the fullest? And that's something I still struggle with today. But I feel that it's a blessing, in a sense, to be able to realize the truth and to know that by applying the truth that you may see the Father as well. And that does bring joy to my heart. I hope this at least piques your interest in picking up the Bible and maybe trying to understand it more or piece more of it together. So that way the truth can be revealed to you, and that you can feel this wholeness, the seed planted in you start to slowly sprout and take root in your heart, and just provide a stable foundation for yourself. Because there's no point in being faithful if there's some type of reward or punishment, because those are actions driven by greed and selfishness, not faith or love. But that's a little excerpt from a book, The Light of All That Falls. Really good fantasy book. I really recommend that. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it off there tonight. You have a good day, evening, or morning, wherever and whenever you happen to be. Peace and blessings, everybody. Bye.